About a year ago, I made a Harbor Freight video, and it was about stuff you could buy at Harbor Freight to use for fishing gear. Today, I'm doing another video about Harbor Freight stuff, but some of this stuff we're gonna make some hacks with, and it's gonna be awesome. So let's get started. Oh, by the way, I recruited some help at CatCon this year, so I'm gonna be using them as fill-ins whenever possible.
Fishing hack number 1.
See what I'm saying? So something that's really cool that you can get from Harbor Freight for fishing is powder coat. I actually got this idea from one of my subscribers. Powder coat's an easy and inexpensive way to paint your jig heads. At least it's inexpensive if you get it from Harbor Freight. The only problem I've had getting powder coat from Harbor Freight is they only have black or white. Now, I've always painted my jig heads with fingernail polish, and it always seemed to work good.
Hey, do you think it's weird if a guy gets his nails painted?
Yeah. Beta! But the jig heads painted with fingernail polish tend to scratch off if you keep them for a while, which most people don't. But when you powder coat jig heads, once this powder coat's set, it's pretty much indestructible. And it's really simple too. I like to take a plain jig head. Sometimes I'll heat it up just a little bit before I dip it, but you don't want to get it super hot because it'll clump up. Then I stick it in the powder coat and kind of swoosh it around. When you take it out, make sure you knock all the extra powder off of it. Then just take your heat gun and heat it up again, and it'll melt that powder and it'll end up giving you a really nice finish. Be an alpha male. Get you some powder coat. Beta! By the way, if you out crappie fishing, then you should check out this video, because on this video, I tied a really awesome crappie jig.
Fishing hack number 2.
So another great thing that you can pick up at Harbor Freight for fishing is a supersonic cleaner. It's an ultrasonic cleaner. What that means, ultrasonic, it vibrates really, really fast, and it'll take anything dirty and it'll clean it. See, it's got this lid. Then it's got a little basket to put your parts on so you can pick them all up out of it. It's got a minimum level and it's got a maximum level. Now, the reason I even thought to put this thing on here is because I watch a show on Monday nights called Catfish Weekly. It actually has 3 hosts, and all 3 of them are YouTubers. Some are crazier than others, but I really enjoy watching that show. And on one of their shows, Josh, the weekend angler, he actually did a show about how to clean a spinning reel. Well, he used one of these cleaners on it, and it actually did a good job. But one thing about this basket, it's kind of short, and I kind of don't like that. So I took me some weld wire and I just bent it. Nothing fancy, but you see them little slots right there, and there's one right there on that side too. I'm gonna stick this wire in these slots like that right there. When I put this basket in, it's a whole lot easier to reach in and grab it and pick this thing up. See what I'm saying? What most people I've seen using this thing is like mean green or simple green. I rode out to the Dollar General near my house, and all they had was mean green, so that's what I'm using.
Speaking of green, why was the green pepper not able to practice his archery?
Huh?
Because he didn't habanero. Get it? Habanero.
Now we got this thing full of cleaner, and this button right here sets the time. I mean, you can set it for 180 seconds, 200, 380, 480, or 90 seconds. The on button starts it, the off button will cut it off. Of course, you got your set button, and this TC button adds heat to it. So you can actually heat this up so it cleans better. We're gonna put some heat on it. Now, next thing we need is something to clean. I was looking around and I found this old Abu reel I got, and I mean, it's old. This thing's probably from the 60s. See how dirty that thing is. We're gonna clean this reel up. We're just gonna drop it in there, put the lid on, then we're gonna hit start. And it is working. We're about to find out if this thing's any good or not. Okay, so it stopped. We're about to find out if this thing works. Oh my freaking gosh, look at that. I'm about to go buy me another one right now. Y'all need to calm down. You know I'm just kidding. You gotta take your dang reel apart first. But seriously, this thing is pretty cool. I mean, you ain't gotta take apart your reel now and scrub all them little parts in it. You just take it apart, throw them in here, let it run a little bit, and then slap your reel back together. That's pretty cool. I am just saying. While I was up at Harbor Freight shopping, I ran into a couple of my subscribers. So I volunteered them to help me. So I met these two guys at Harbor Freight. What's your name?
Emmanuel.
And Marcus.
Go ahead and help me out.
Hack number 3.
I found this lantern right here at Harbor Freight. And I know you're probably asking yourself, what's so special about a lantern? Well, I seen it and I thought, well, that's kind of cool. And then it hit me. I know where this lantern came from. I had a Streamlight lantern years ago, and it too was also 2,000 lumens. And the more I looked at this thing, the more I realized this is a direct knockoff of a Streamlight lantern. And I know there's going to be people in the comments going, Streamlight's much better. Well, I looked it up, and Streamlight lanterns are also made in China. So why pay $150 for a Streamlight lantern when you can get this for like $38 or $48? I can't remember. This thing's actually cool, and it's really bright. Like I said, it's 2,000 lumens. I guarantee you'll light this shop up. Let's see. Yep, I can't see nothing. We're gonna cut our lantern on. That is pretty bright. And I'll show you the part I really like. It's got this little cover that you can slide around. That way when you're fishing, it shines on your rods, but not in your face. Know what I'm saying? It's got the carry handle exactly like the Streamlight. I mean, exactly. You could hang this thing up by the carry handle. You could pop this hook out or this hook. And they're just exactly that. They're hooks. So you can hook it on something and hang it with that. And I already showed you the lantern part. But if you hold this button down, it's also got a light on the bottom. That's so you could hang this thing up and it still shines light down and it don't blind you unless you look at it. And it's also got this red top. I ain't sure what that's about unless it's like, wait a minute, I think that's SOS. You can send a SOS signal. That's kind of cool. Now, one last thing I like about this lantern, this bottom here comes off. When you do take the bottom off, you can store the cord inside of it. That's actually pretty convenient. I'm gonna tell you something else you can store in it. You could keep your money in here. That way, if you're out bank fishing and somebody tries to rob you, your money's hid in your lantern. I'm just saying. You know I'm kidding. If somebody tries to rob you and you're bank fishing, the best thing to do is...
I started blasting. Bang! Wow. Bang! Then they ran away. I ran after them.
Okay.
Bang! Try to shoot them in the back.
I'm just saying.
Fishing hack number 4.
Harbor Freight started carrying these fishing chairs, and they are awesome. I mean, look at this bag on the side right here. You could put all kinds of stuff in this thing. You could put your little Plano box in there, put your drink in there. I mean, you could pretty much carry everything you need for a fishing trip. And this thing's comfortable. The best part is this fold down table. You got your place there to put your stuff while you're fishing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. I really like this chair, and I've looked online. The cheapest ones you'll find is like 50 or 60 bucks. And I bought this at Harbor Freight for like $35, I think. But yeah, a fishing chair. That's freaking awesome.
I hate chairs.
Why would you hate chairs?
Because I can't stand sitting.
Huh?
You know, stand, sitting. I can only explain it to you. I can't understand it for you.
Fishing hack number 5.
At Harbor Freight, you can get this threaded insert rivet kit. It comes with a rivet gun, and it also comes with threaded rivets. One of my subscribers brought this up. I mean, I know what this is, but it's actually a good idea what he was talking about. You can use these threaded inserts to bolt stuff down temporarily, and then you can remove the bolts, and there's nothing left there to trip over. That's kind of cool. But if you've never seen them, I want to show you how they work. So the first thing we need to do, we take a threaded rivet, and we're going to see which one of these this thing will fit into. Almost. So it fits into the 23/64 drill bit. Then we find that drill bit. We stick our drill in our drill bit. We stick our drill bit in our drill. Now this piece of steel right here is 1/8 of an inch. That 1/8 of an inch is going to represent the floor of our boat. And yes, I do realize this is steel and our boat's aluminum, but it's the same principle. It don't matter what the material is. Next, we'll drill a hole through our piece of steel. Then we'll test fit our threaded rivet to make sure the hole's the right size. Then we're going to take our threaded rivet and we're going to screw it onto our rivet pliers. Once you get it screwed on, put it in the hole and clamp it down just like you're popping a rivet. So now you basically got a nut inserted to your floor. When you squeeze those pliers, you see how it crimps the back side of the nut. And when you're not using it for anything, it's smooth, so it's not a trip hazard. Oh! I'm just saying. But you can insert bolts or you can insert eye bolts into it. I had another subscriber that sent me a hack idea about how to bolt a cooler down, and this hack and his hack would go perfect together. Like for instance, let's say you're mounting a rod rack, and where you're mounting it, let's just say you can't get to the other side. Well, you can insert these threaded rivets and you don't need to get to the other side to put a nut on it. That makes these things really handy.
Fishing hack number 6.
Harbor Freight has these really cool Quinn scissors. And look at the metal on these things. I mean, they are thick. There ain't no flex in these blades. And these scissors would be great for cutting up bait and anything else you need them for. I actually got this little tiny pair that I really like. As you can tell, I've been using them. I threw these in my tackle box. They're really short and they're super thick, so the blade won't flex on them. Because when you got scissors and the blade flexes, it makes it really hard to cut stuff like braided line. I actually got some braided line. This is a 100-pound test and 300-pound test Andy. That stuff's like dang weed eater string. So let's see how good our Quinn scissors do. But first, we're gonna see how these regular scissors do. You see how thin they are? Even though these scissors are short, that just means the blade can flex. So let's cut some braid with them and see how it does. As you can see, it ain't happening. So let's go ahead and cut some braid with these big scissors, and look at that. Slices through it just like butter. And that's 100-pound test right there. Let's try to cut this Andy monster. Yep, it ain't having no trouble. So like I told you, these are some awesome fishing scissors. That's all I'm saying.
Fishing hack number 7.
Now on my last Harbor Freight video, I had heat shrink tube as one of the things you need to get at Harbor Freight. Reason why, if you watch my channel, I make a lot of hack videos and I use a lot of heat shrink tubing. Call me dumb.
Okay, you're dumb.
I never even knew Harbor Freight sold marine grade heat shrink tube. Look at that, marine heat shrink tube. That's crazy. I don't know why I didn't know that, but I was in there one day shopping and I seen it and I thought that is pretty cool. Marine grade heat shrink tube is actually waterproof because it has an adhesive liner. Now I got a wire right here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. As you can see, this is our regular heat shrink tube, and I mean, it looks nice, but our marine grade heat shrink tube, you can see the glue coming out the ends of it. That means it's waterproof. So when you're at Harbor Freight shopping for heat shrink tube, if you're doing fishing projects, make sure you buy the marine grade heat shrink tube, or at least order it off of Amazon like I've been doing. Might be cheaper, I don't know. Speaking of Amazon, everybody always leaves in the comment section that they want a list of the materials that I use for every video. So to make it easier for you and easier for me, from now on every video, if you click on the Amazon link in the description box under the video, there'll be some list on that page with the video title. If you click on that list, it'll open up and it'll have the parts that I used for that particular video.
Fishing hack number 8.
I made a video like a year or so ago about the best headlamps, and I didn't realize how many headlamps that Harbor Freight actually carries. And they carry some really cool headlamps for some decent prices, and everybody needs a headlamp when they're fishing at night. So next time you're in Harbor Freight, check out the headlamps. Well, I'm out of help. Hey Cranky, you want to help me?
Sure, I'll help you.
Well, take it away.
Fishing and stuff is dumb.
Now, one thing Harbor Freight don't have a shortage of is cheap clamps. And one of my favorite hacks to do is to take a 1/4-inch drill bit. See that hole right there? You just drill a hole through that hole right there. Next, we're going to take a 1/4-20 bolt, run it through that hole, and put a nut on it. Then you can clamp that clamp to anything, and now you got yourself a cool camera mount. I mean, that's actually pretty cool. There's no rule that says you have to spend a bunch of money on camera mounts. My favorite clamp are these right here, because these things are made to ratchet down, and they ratchet down tight. You can unscrew this side, put it on this end, and it'll kind of separate stuff. The way it's hooked up right now, it's made for clamping. And since we're making a camera mount out of this, we don't really need this hole. So we're going to drill this hole out with a 1/4-20 drill bit. Next, we're going to take our 1/4-20 bolt, put the nut on the other side, and after you screw your camera onto it, you'll have yourself a camera mount. That's pretty dang cool right there. If you can't get your camera to line up straight, just put you 2 nuts on it. That way you can use the last nut as a jam nut up against your camera, and you can get this thing to line up perfect. Hack number 10. Now, for what it's worth, Harbor Freight does carry black lights, but they're only black light flashlights. Take that for what it's worth. Actually, Harbor Freight has a whole bunch of lights. I'm just saying. Fishing hack number 11. Now, when I was at Harbor Freight shopping, I ran across these portable storage sheds. All they are is like a tent that the front opens up. You can pull a car in it or whatever. But they have them 10 foot by 10 foot. And the price really wasn't that bad. You ever heard of a fishing bivvy? They're specially used by carp fishermen over in the UK. But if you're a bank fisherman and you really want to fish and it's supposed to rain, you could set up a fishing bivvy and stay in it and stay dry while you're fishing. Anyway, that's just an idea. Hack number 12. Harbor Freight also has a good deal on carabiners. You can buy like a whole set of carabiners like this. You can buy fancy carabiners. I mean, they got all different kinds there. And you can do a lot with carabiners. I mean, you could make rod leashes. You could use them to keep your minnow trap closed. You know, got that little thing on the top. You gotta click something into it to keep it closed. Carabiners are very handy for fishing. I'm just saying. So there you have it. 12 more Harbor Freight fishing hacks that might be useful. Maybe not. If you like this video, go check out this video because you're probably gonna like it too if you like this one. And if you don't like that one, check out this one or even this one because I'm sure you'll find something you like. I'm serious. Go check it out because this video is over.